What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Seven Figure Flipping Podcast. This is Bill Allen. We've got a great show for you guys today. We've got a good friend of mine, Vaughn Bethell, and one of our Seven Figure Altitude members. We just got back from Cancun. If you're watching the video, I got my Cancun shirt on. I got a little bit of a tan. We worked about half. We got to play for half of it. It was a great mastermind meeting for our Runway and Altitude members. And if you're interested and you want to come to the next one, we have another one in July. Go to sevenfigurealtitude.com, fill out an application. Even if you're not ready for Seven Figure Altitude yet, fill out an application. It's almost like a free way to talk to our staff, talk to our team, and figure out how you're going to get to the next level. Think of it like a consultation call, just a way to figure out how to do more deals, get ready, and maybe you are ready right now. But we had a great event, and Vaughn and I talked a little bit about that. We talk a lot about how to find deals if you don't have a lot of money. The number one thing that came up was marketing costs. Costs going through the roof, so much competition, so difficult to find deals. We're going to talk about how you can find deals for really cheap. I think his cost per lead is like $30 or something like that, and his cost per deal is like $1,300. Would you like to find a deal for $1,300 right now? And Vaughn's going to tell us how he does it. So what are some things? You mentioned you have some full-time drivers. Let's jump into that. And I realize we've been talking a lot here about the kind of the big why type stuff, but let's talk about where the rubber meets the road and a couple ways that you're finding deals that might help some other folks.
Okay. Well, I say full-time drivers are actually part-time in the sense of the hours that they work. But they're adding anywhere from, I would say, 600 to 800 properties to our database per week. So in our sense, that's hitting the goals that we set as far as leads or deals or prospective clients coming into the pipeline. So, every time they come in and they add those properties on Monday, we have somebody that qualifies those properties. So it goes through each and every one of them, make sure it fits our criteria, make sure that they've taken a picture of the property. And from there, I would say 99% up until the first of this month, 99% of our leads have come through Driving for Dollars. We just don't pull lists. We haven't pulled lists. We just now started in April because we just moved into a new market. So we're in Central Florida now instead of just South Carolina. So for Central Florida, we have pulled lists, but we haven't really pulled any lists in the 3 years that we've been doing this here in South Carolina. It's all been Driving for Dollars.
Okay, so let's kind of go through very quickly, like how you do this. So like, is it you just find an Uber driver and say, I'll give you $1,000 if you start doing this, kind of maybe what system you use, and then what does that kind of look like going out the back door?
Okay, well, we use a software called Deal Machine, and it just makes the process very easy. It's an app, and we use the enterprise version. So one of the neatest features of that app is I can go create a filter that shows on every deal finder's platform. So when they log into that app on their phone and they get ready to start driving, the properties that meet the criteria, at least on paper, are going to be highlighted on their drive. So they can actually pull up an area and just see all the highlighted properties and drive straight to that property. And then when they get to that property, then they just need to see if there's a level of distress physically. So those criteria might be an absentee owner, assessed value under $300,000 in a certain zip code. I mean, there's a couple of things that we can filter at depending on what we're searching for that particular week. But it just makes it real easy. So if I tell one of my drivers to go drive in 29681, they can go to that area code or that zip code and then plug their filter into the map and then zoom out and see kind of like almost like a heat map, what areas have the biggest, highlights. And so they can go drive straight to that area, drive down the street, pull up to a property and say, okay, there's a physical level sign of distress there. Let me go ahead and take a picture of that property and add it to the database. So our drivers go out, they add, 600 to 800 properties on an individual basis, about 300 to 400 properties a week. We pay them $1 per approved property. So right now they're getting about a 10% unqualified rate. So if they add 100 properties, about 10 of them are coming back as unqualified, don't meet criteria, don't, show the level of distress that we wanted to show. And they're getting a lot better at that. But once those properties are filtered out, then we export those properties from Deal Machine and we skip trace them. And once skip trace, we add them into our text messaging platform and then into our cold calling platform. And we only send postcards out to our hot zip codes. So if there's properties in our hot zip codes, then we'll send them out directly through Deal Machine through the software. With a picture right there on their property. I like having pictures on their property as far as a current picture rather than a Google Street View or Street Pic, just because some of these property owners don't live in the areas where their properties are. They might not have seen their property in 2 or 3 years, sometimes 5 years. So when they see a property that looks like theirs and is showing major signs of distress, they're like, whoa, I haven't seen that property in 5 years. And a lot of them don't want to come back into the area or hire a contractor to go fix up the property. They'll be willing to sell it to us. So I personally like a updated picture on my postcards when I send them out.
Okay, so Deal Machine enterprise model, you can set your criteria in there. They'll go out and drive around, take pictures of the properties that it shows highlighted versions. They can know where there's a heavy concentration, where they can get the most potential payment from you. And you're paying $1 and approved property, about 10% gets chopped. Who's going in and determining whether they're approved properties or not? Are you going in and seeing like 300 or 400 a week per driver?
So my lead manager goes in. And so once we go into the software on Monday mornings, we can filter out through all the properties that were added via the mobile map on that particular week before. And then there's a view where you can just see the pictures, and you can just do a quick scan of the pictures. And there's a couple of things that won't qualify a picture, such as if there's a finger sitting over the camera or the car's mirror or a part of the car is in the picture, because these are getting sent out via postcard. Mm-hmm. Some of them are. So, and then if they're driving around in a neighborhood where all the properties are worth $250,000, $300,000, which is a decent neighborhood here, and there's no sign of distress, those properties are going to get chopped. So unless we're looking at, going for pre-foreclosure or something like that, that's a different story, but we're looking for physical signs of distress. So it's pretty easy to go in and qualify or unqualified properties.
Okay. And then you're exporting this list, and are you skip tracing it? Is it getting skip traced inside the software? What do you do next?
So we use batch leads for our skip tracing. So we import it into batch leads. And the reason we use batch leads is because we use them for SMS or text messaging as well. So straight from there, we skip trace them. And then all the ones that come back with hits, we add them to a campaign.
Okay. Okay. And from then you're text messaging, cold calling them, doing all that stuff. And then from there, it's just a normal process of trying to follow up, get them under contract, negotiate them, those kind of things. All stuff that we've covered. How do you find these?
Right. So I've been fortunate because it's a husband and wife team, and they're really good friends of ours. So our main driver, he's a veteran, disabled vet, and he was not working, and he was looking for something to do. And I said, hey, I got, if you need some hours, or you just want something to do, I have a job that you might potentially like. And this was 2 years ago, and he just took it and he owned it, and he loves doing it. And he makes good money at doing it, because not only do we pay $1 per approved property, we actually have a percentage bonus tier. So if we close on a property, they can make anywhere from 1% to 3% of the actual assignment, or whatever we profit on the deal, as long as they're actively driving at the time. So it's something that he's done consistently for over 2 years now, and he's brought his wife into the fold, because his wife works in Columbia, which is another. It's about an hour and 15, hour and a half from here. And it's another market that we've been able to jump into because she's over there driving, and they do it on the weekends as a team.
Nice. And just for context, so everybody who's listening, how many deals a year do you do, and how many come from this source?
So right now, last year we did 38 deals, and 35 of them came from Deal Machine.
So what you're saying is I can get 35 deals just from driving for dollars in 1 year.
Absolutely. You can get more than that, depending on how much you want to scale that team.
All right. So if everybody's listening, that's like, yeah, I used to drive for dollars when I got started. Then I made a little bit of money, and now I send bulk mail, do online pay-per-click advertising. I don't do any of this stuff. You could be missing out severely. Obviously, you've got some great back-end systems. You got to be able to negotiate the contracts, have a buyer's list, all of that other stuff that we teach, that all the wholesalers out there and flippers out there know how to do. But this is really, really cool. Would you recommend somebody just start out right out of the gate paying $1 a lead? How would you recommend people start, incentivizing people? What I see a lot of times in driving for dollars and people that are using something like this is they'll basically say, I'll pay you $500 or $1,000 for any closed property. And I'm interested to hear what you think about kind of that pay structure versus what you do and longevity of people that will stay with you.
Well, people like to see the fruits of their labor immediately. So paying $1 per property, they get paid right off the bat. And it's also a way that when I'm looking at bringing somebody on as a driver, I'll incentivize them. I'll say, hey, listen, I'll pay you $1 per property that you add, for the first week. And then we'll sit down and kind of go over the properties, explain it to you exactly what we're looking for, if you missed some and whatnot. But if you had 200 properties in the first 3 days, I'll give you $1.25 per property or $1.50 per property. So they just like to get that reward right off the bat, the instant gratification, right? As far as paying people just off of closed deals, it can take 3, 4, 5 months before you close a deal. So somebody that's been driving for a little while and they're not getting any type of payment for 3 months, if it was me, I wouldn't continue to do it, at least not on a high level. So you want to incentivize them right off the bat, give them that instant gratification. And then that's why we have a tiered system. We have $1 per property, approved property on a weekly basis, but also if we close a deal, anywhere from 1% to 3%, depending on how many properties that they're adding on a weekly, monthly basis.
Yeah, that's nice. I think you hit it. I mean, you're paying for gas. They're driving around, they're taking their time. What I found is I've gotten people to send me leads, to set up driving for dollars, but they haven't stayed longer than a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And even if we got one right away, the sales cycle can be long. The closing process can be long. We have some houses, especially that are distressed, that might get kicked down the road 2-3 months based on title issues and all kinds of other stuff. And they're not seeing any money until then. So I love this idea and this concept. I think it's really smart. A lot of people pay people to put out bandit signs, and where you're not even getting any leads. So you're actually putting the trash out there and you're paying somebody anywhere from $1 to $2 per sign to put out there, if not more. And at least here we're getting addresses, we're getting pictures, we're getting actual things that we can use. I don't know why people are so afraid to pay basically per lead almost. It's like you're getting an address, a property, an image. You're actually having some stuff other than putting signs out in the street and just hoping somebody calls and drives by. So
absolutely. And one of the things too, I would say is that it all depends on where you are in your business. If you're still a one-man show, I wouldn't go, if you're not doing a lot of volume, go out and do the driving yourself. Don't pay anybody. But if you're doing some volume and you have a team, or you're wearing multiple other hats, and you can afford to do it, pay somebody.
All right, Vaughn, this is good stuff, man. I really appreciate that. Your cost per deal has to be pretty low on driving for dollars. Do you have any idea what that is?
If you take out what I'm paying, like as far as salaries and expenses and things such as that, I can tell you right now, between the marketing and software costs and the mailings, hold on, and this includes SMS and cold calling, I want to say is, here we go. My cost per deal is $1,330.38.
So that includes all the software, the cold calling, the manpower, other than salaries for the team and the staff and those kind of overhead. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Wow, that's super cheap. So if you're listening,
$37.07 cost per lead. With a return. That's awesome. With a marketing ROI of $16.74 for every dollar we spend.
Well, I remember when I was just getting into pay-per-click in Pensacola and doing mail in Pensacola, I was somewhere around like $10 to $13 on mail. And then when I added pay-per-click, it was a couple of years later, it was like $7 for every dollar I would spend. It was crazy. And now we're hoping that we get to $3 for every dollar we spend. So being up that high is, if you're listening to this, you know how powerful that is. So first of all, I thank you for sharing this tactic with us and everybody on the podcast. I'm sure we all appreciate that. And your system is pretty awesome. I remember hearing about it in Nashville at our event, the previous event, and just kind of my jaw hit the floor when I heard how many deals you did from driving for dollars. So, and the guys at Deal Machine are good guys. I talk to them quite a bit. And I know that, they're interested in coming out to one of our mastermind events and getting more involved with us and stuff like that. So I'll make sure that I send this on to them and give them a big thank you. So if you're listening, I don't have do you have a referral code or anything like that for Deal Machine? You got one?
I got one. I don't have it on me right now.
Well, we'll get it from Vaughn. We'll put it in the email that we send out and in the show notes and stuff like that. So We'll hook them up with some credits, probably get you guys some credits. They're really good folks over there. So if you want to check out Deal Machine, we'll help for Vaughn's sharing the goods with us. We'll get them a referral code hookup. So, and if you guys never heard of them, it's a good company, group of good guys over there. And we'll put that in the email and in the show notes. Vaughn, thanks for spending time with me and everybody else and sharing some of your secrets. I think the start with why kind of stuff, the purpose, cause, passion, the vision statement, the VTO, all that stuff is so important. If somebody wants, you're doing deals in Central Florida, you're doing deals in South Carolina, you probably have a lot of needs. How can people get a hold of you, or if they want to buy from you some of these awesome deals, how can they do that?
Well, my main email address is Vaughn, VAUGHN, at REIJunkies.com. I'm on Facebook as Vaughn Bethell. Not on many other social media platforms, so look me up on Facebook. I think I am on Instagram, so still under Vaughn Bethell. So hit me up. I mean, and then as far as business is concerned, it's REIJunkies.com, or you can go buycheapupstatehomes.com.
Buycheapupstatehomes.com. All right.
Yep.
Jump on the buyers list. Reach out to Vaughn if you got a deal in that area that you want to JV on. You want to buy some wholesale deals, buy some rentals. I know they got really great rental properties in those areas, stuff like that. Vaughn, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me.
And I look forward to seeing you soon.